The Western sanctions on Russian energy are already falling apart. Before Trump could act, India's Modi has already made his move. It seems like New Delhi has taken it upon itself to thwart the European and the US sanctions. Just have a look at this. Russia and India are now signing the largest ever crude oil deal yet, which will see India's Reliance Industries import nearly 500,000 barrels per day from Russia's state oil firm Rosneft. It's a 10-year agreement. The deal is worth at $130 billion at today's price for the next 10 years. This is indeed very huge. The deal will make sure that Russian economy and especially its energy sector remains hot irrespective of the EU's pivot away from the Moscow. The deal essentially makes the Russian economy sanctions-proof from the coming decade. For the unaware, over one-third of India's energy imports come from the Russian oil. After the EU stopped buying the Russian oil owing to the sanctions following the invasion of Ukraine, India became Russia's biggest oil purchaser. India also doesn't have any sort of sanctions on Russian oil, so its refineries are taking full advantage of the cheaper supply. The sanctions have reduced the price of the Russian oil too, making it cheaper by $3 to $4 per barrel compared to other type of the oil. Russia's oil deliveries to India have doubled last year to $45 billion. The exports of mineral fuel to New Delhi have also jumped by 7% between the January and September this year. The bilateral trade between India and Russia have also grown significantly over the past 2 years, currently standing at $66 billion. Moscow and New Delhi have also set a target of reaching nearly $100 billion in bilateral trade by 2030. India is doubling down on oil trade with Russia after Trump's victory in the United States. Trump is a pragmatic politician and knows that Russia must not be abandoned to keep China from usurping it virtually. Trump had previously also stated that he doesn't like the sanctions when it came to Russia. Trump's approach to foreign policy often revolves around forming personal ties with key leaders. As per the retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who has been tapped for the role of US envoy for Ukraine crisis, Trump sees sanctions and brute force as last resort, not the first options. This means that when it comes to issue like the Ukraine war, Trump is likely to try taking the things in a talking manner with the Russian leader Vladimir Putin instead of imposing more sanctions. First thing first, US and EU sanctions on Russia have failed miserably. Still, they kept on piling thousands of sanctions on Moscow just for the headline management. Trump's view on sanctions is different. He has previously mentioned that he doesn't love sanctions because they push country away from the United States. If Trump decides to reduce or remove these sanctions, Russia is likely to regain access to the international market that has been restricted. Meanwhile, India and China will anyway keep importing the Russian energy irrespective of the US policy, given their clout in the international markets. Some experts also believe that Trump's personal connection with Vladimir Putin and his views on sanctions made it likely that he will ease the US restrictions on Russia. But Trump is still 50 days away from assuming the charge as the 47th president of the United States. Before he could make any move, India's Modi has made it already clear: Russia is too big to be ignored. In fact, there are also reports that Delhi might soon host Putin in the beginning of the new year, a sight that is sure to trigger anxiety in Brussels, Kyiv, and also in the deep state in United States.